We've got a lot of topics to talk about, and depending on how big of an audience I have will depend on how long I stay. If this doesn't push out to anybody because I'm not getting a lot of push from YouTube, I'm hitting a brick wall, so to say, with my stuff breaching the algorithm. It's not really pushing out at all. So if there's a lot of people here, I consider just having a group of people a lot. So if we have enough people for conversation, we'll do a whole hour. If not, I'll do this as like a 20-minute update style live. And that's how I'll approach it until YouTube starts to, push my content out a little bit better. Unless people show up. Like earlier, we had over 100 people here, which was great. I wasn't expecting it. So we'll just kind of balance it out based on that. And based on how much or how many people are able to even find this. Because it's coming to a new level to where I can't even find all of my stuff on Julie's account. So when I'm searching for stuff, it's not popping up. So it's making it a little difficult to gain a new audience when they're not showing my content. So it's becoming a little tricky here. So I thank everybody for being in here. I appreciate the core members for continuing to show up. We'll see just how good we can do here this evening. I wasn't sure if I was going to come in again this evening, but with the way that the charts are presenting themselves, with the rejection point we hit earlier, and then the confirmation we had with the move back up, it's absolutely the time for us to talk. And I'm back to the liquid side after that rejection earlier because I'm just not tempting with this market. With Trump, what they came out and did, I thought was atrocious with the government. They came out earlier and said that they had basically gave security to a oil tanker and yada yada yada, so on and so forth, and it was successful. Well, what they did was they drove the oil price down, and right when the oil price went back down, this is the illusion they're giving you, even though the charts speak of it already. And then they came out and said, oh, this isn't true. That was a fake story. So the market started to pump earlier. This is the illusion they're giving you. Because we were protecting the oil tanker and everything looked good, peaceful, and all that. Well, they came out and said they were lying about that, basically. They didn't say they were lying, but they said it wasn't true. So they put out a story, let the markets do what they're going to do. Then they added a different direction. So that's exactly how we trap retail liquidity. So it's basically sports entertainment now in the crypto market. It's basically just like sports entertainment. You might as well just have Vegas. When you call Vegas in and you can bet on the up, down, and all this stuff on normal exchanges, it causes an added layer of distress in these markets. And we really do need to stay on top of this. This is why understanding what's going on is just a joke. So what's really going on is Trump warns against Iran now putting mines around Hormuz. So that's completely different than this is just a shake and bake and this is going to end. This is going to be a sustainable thing. There's no surprise that oil, after this happened, it went down to $78, and now it's already popped up $8 a barrel since that happened. It's not a surprise, though, because if you follow the charts or what I've been showing, it's not very often where you would have a huge breakout of a descending wedge and not backtest any movement of it. Now we've at least come down reverse into a Gartley, and at least it had a substantial drop. This is more warranted in a movement like they had way up, so they're definitely playing on retail, and they are. And I'm not talking about just Trump. I'm talking about media, the central banks, which are the top of the hierarchy. Trump just comes in as a politician. So he's being run just like the market manipulators, the institutions, and retail are all controlled by central banks. And if you don't understand the hierarchy, I suggest you join the classes because that's exactly what we're talking about starting yesterday in phase 3. So you are no longer going to have to wonder about the hierarchy if you're in the classes. It's phase 3, and it's my favorite phase out of every single one we're going to do because it teaches you how central banks actually rule the institutions, the market manipulators, or the market makers, and retail. They're the highest of the hierarchy. And at the end of the day, they put the macro and micro view together, and they let all these subcategories. Like if I told you that the market makers are there to buy it when it's red, you wouldn't believe me. But their only job is to buy it when the market's red, to keep it from going under. Institutions are to buy it up as the price is going up. Also, institutions and market makers work together to hit those stop losses and liquidity via this retail traders. We only make up 5%, as there were central banks make up over 80%. So basically, if it was at $1, central banks would have an 80% sway, so they could make it go to $1.80 or 20 cents. Retail has a 5% sway. That means we could make it go from $1 to $1.05 or $1.95. That's a big difference. Market makers are somewhere around 35, so they can make it go to $1.35 from $1 or 65 cents. A big move still. And then institutions are way up there, 60%, 62%. It just depends how you look at it. So they can make it sway either to $1 to $1.60 or $1 to 40 cents. That's a big movement. So basically what we want to be is we want to be the ants on the back of or we want to be the plankton, like I told the class. We want to be the plankton on a whale. Or we want to be the ant that sits on an elephant. We want to just ride the coattails. We're not trying to fight the central banks. We're not trying to fight the direction. What we're trying to do is we're trying to piggyback, like I always say. We're trying to catch a whiff of what the central banks are putting out, and then we try to ride it appropriately. If we try to go against the grain or we try to overtake the hierarchy, we get stomped. So it's just it's a lot of stuff going on. We're going to get into the XRP, what it did. I got a little clip from Brad Garlinghouse as well, what he said about XRP. It's only about 2 minutes that we'll play. Levitt report of 140 troops injured within estimates. So 140 troops, they're saying breaking news that 140 troops were injured, U.S. troops. So yeah, this is going to escalate in a very bad way. So, hey, Jamie, you don't have to be live, my friend. They're all separated in phases, and it is not necessary to be live. They're all put out right after the live ends, and you are not expected to be there live. That's why I did it like I did. The setup that I did. So all of it becomes available after each lesson class. And there's 11 classes right now, but they're set up into different phases. So you can watch it at your own leisure. You will never feel like you're behind. It's not that way. They all are broken down into phases for a reason. So you can watch them at your own leisure. I promise you, you don't have to be there live. For anybody who's worried about not being there live, that's going to be there for all time. So you have that content to feed off of. Good evening. 5:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Tuesday, March 10th, 2026. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So, it's worth every penny, Jamie. And I'm just glad that I can teach it through Zoom, but have you guys watch it on YouTube. It saves you guys a lot. Because Zoom would want you to pay like $126 a month to be a part of those lives, which is just asinine. And to have the content. It doesn't work for me. That's too much. But anyhow, good evening, everybody. XRP, the biggest thing that we see today so far is that major rejection. We've talked about that liquidity sweep area. If we get that confirmation, that's a rejection zone, a bearish confirmation, and we've already hit it twice, a third time now, and couldn't break, actually a fourth time, but second time in just as many days, approximately March 5th or 3rd, we came up here. Now all of a sudden, 6 days later, we come back up here and get a brutal rejection, back into the liquidity box. And now what we have to hope for is XRP comes down to $1.34 and holds, and some kind of right shoulder if you want it to hold. Me personally, the picture you've seen that I depicted for the live, it's everything I wanted. It came out everything exactly the way I wanted. It shows the XRP ecosystem on fire, Ripple Labs burning down, the technical target 86.6 cents on the bottom, the XRP token disintegrating, because this is meant to instill panic. It's like they're burning it to the ground. You got the XRP building coming apart. You got the broken materials of XRP, little tokens lying around. It's depicted that way for a reason, because this isn't, it looks like it's on fire. We look like we're on fire. But once we get down to where we need to go, which is either 86.6 or in the descending wedge that's on the all-time cup and handle, that technical target could get us anywhere from 86.6. And depending on when we come down here in the all-time chart, and we can look at it real quickly so we can work our way out and in and in and out. The all-time pattern here, on the bottom of the descending wedge, we're trying to line it up so if it comes through here, Right now, 86.6 approximately, or 86 and a half, is right around March 29th, March 30th. So if we get there by like April 1st, that could be a quick fall down. Now, if we do break down a little bit farther and we have to go to the apex, it does change it up just a little bit. The apex could get you all the way out into, let's put it in the daily. And this is very important for anybody tuning in. And I'll show you the all-time cup. But August 25th. So our theory in the community is if you're new, mine and some others in here as well that are very helpful. The core members are absolutely beautiful souls. The new members are spectacular. And just the growing mindset that we have together to try to equalize. And I promise you, if you stay in here, we've done this 2 other times, buying the bottom, selling the top. The third time is going to be a piece of cake. This is going to be the easiest one because we already have the all-time cup and handle. Plus, on the handle, we've already identified the start of a descending wedge, which is super bullish once you get it from the bottom. Now, we've only had one hit back here on February 1st. Second hit April, around mid-April of support. First hit of resistance was up here July 18th of this year, or last year, October of last year. And then the third and final hit of resistance as of right now was January of this year. We've never hit the next support structures. So now we're looking for, where does it make sense? Well, we know the descending triangle, and we'll bounce around just so if you're new, I can feed you the information. And I have a bunch of charts because I put different information on each. So let's just make sure we all know what a descending triangle is. So right here you have flat, downtrending resistance, which is lower highs. Lower high 1 in July, lower high 2 approximately in September of last year, lower high 3 in January. Now that's defined as a descending triangle. You have flat support, support 1 flat, support 2 flat, support 3 flat, broke through. Now the technical target out of this, unless it invalidates, and that's getting over $1.56 and ultimately taking over this resistance up here in real time, we estimated it's about $1.94. So that's what we would have to break past. However, we do have a head and shoulders, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, which I put in here just so you could see. Right now it's a bitter rejection in the daily. That's a big pull down. It does look like an inverted hammer possibly, but with the way the volume portfolio is going, I don't know if I trust it. So we have to invalidate that first. We drew out on Bitcoin for anybody who's new as well. We're going to go back to the all-time chart. We're going to focus almost ideally on XRP in this live. But I need to show you this because we drew this out before this run up for the right shoulder. Does anybody remember? So that's because we figured if it came up and got rejected, it'd come somewhere in the area, and then the rejection would happen if we're going to go into a breakdown. To invalidate that, we need to get up and over first this resistance area at 72.8 and ultimately retake around 74K and invalidate that resistance. Otherwise, for Bitcoin, now you're talking about 60K. You're talking about more likely. What I want to see is Bitcoin tap 56K area. That would make a lot of sense on the retest of the handle, which we haven't done yet. So that's just what I'm looking at there. But going back to the all-time cup and handles, and I'm not ignoring everybody in the comments. I'm just trying to give you all this information. And I want to catch up everybody who's new. We're going to start doing this every single time we come in here so we know. So listen, everybody. I am not bearish on XRP in the macro. I am extremely bullish. But my job here today and every day until we get to the bottom of a bear market, first, it's my job to get you to buy in a bear market, which we did in 21. I started March 24th of 2021. So my 5 years is coming up in a couple weeks. I've never missed a day. 2 weeks to the day is my 5 years. And I've been here every single day, no matter what. So that's kind of nice we can get together. But in the first bear market, we were able to buy and we sold the top on the right shoulder. Second bear market, we bought in 23. Bought more in 24 with XRP when we had that huge dump back down to 38 cents. And then we were able to find the top. We called the top in January, was the lining up of the resistance. And then you had until July on that push back up to make a decision. And now we've been liquid, very liquid, except for swing trading moments. And now this third time is going to be the charm. I guarantee you we're going to nail this to the wall. I guarantee it. I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing's 100%, but I guarantee it. This third time's the charm. Because now we've already 10x from 3,400 to 34,000 for anybody who was here from 23. That was my guarantee. We turned 3,500 into 35,000. We bought at 34 cents. Well, you sold well over 350 if you were paying attention or anywhere. But anyhow, you were up at least 10x. So we absolutely created that. Now the goal and challenge was to be patient until we finally hit this bottom. Now, maybe we do come back up here and this becomes an inverse pattern. But unless that descending triangle breaks down the aforementioned pattern I just showed you, the technical target is 86.6 cents. And the beauty of it is we lined it up here on the descending wedge that's on the all-time cup with the handle now is a descending wedge, which is, I can't even explain to you how super freaking bullish this is when this finishes. And based on 70% of the move, we target when it breaks out about $3.48 for the handle target. But the actual cup, the all-time cup that's been building for almost a decade, the technical target is $6.41. So yes, there's a lot of work to get there, a lot of patience, and my number one objective here is you don't want to buy the dip before it's the dip. You don't want to buy and be extra liquidity, and you don't want to hold forever. You want to buy it at the proper moment so that we can profit every single market. Every single market, because we all have to live. We all have families. It's getting a lot more expensive, and we can't afford to fund Ripple XRP, but we can certainly ride the coattails with the 5% who make profit in crypto, and we can be a big part of that percentage in retail. 99 out of 100 retail traders do not make money. I know it's hard to stomach in crypto, but if there's 100, there's 97 people in here, which means 2 of us likely will profit if it's not my community. Now there's 102 people, which means only about 99 of us will profit. By this statistic, 97 out of 102. So do you want to be the 97 who miss out? Or do you want to be part of the 5 who actually make a bank? This is my guarantee to all of you. If you watch, you will succeed. I have the proven track record. And I'm not bragging. I'm not trying to do all of this crap. I'm not trying to brag because I don't care about recognition, to be honest with you. I just want to make sure this community succeeds. When you watch in here during the lives, there's no advertisement. I don't have any sponsors for a reason except the beautiful souls and members of Tom's Army who single-handedly fund my program, who pay it forward, and that's all I ask. If you ever make a profit, if you ever are put in a better position because of my content, please just consider paying it forward and paying $9.99 a month just to be part of Tom's Army. And help me continue to do what I love to do. A lot of people that are joined, we got another member to join the class today. Jamie, upgraded membership to the live class. Welcome in, my brother. And you're number 44 outside of me. I make 45. I actually pay the $49.99 a month myself. So we have 44 members besides me now with Jamie joining. And that is extremely helpful for what I try to do here. And I can be here so often. And I don't mind dedicating a ton of my time. I know today we did a live earlier. I already did a 10-minute video. I did 2 shorts because I'm trying to keep everybody in the proper perspective. You don't have to pay a red cent to learn this information unless you want to go deeper. So, Bearded Viking, I'm up 27% this week, scalping and finding opportunities. Much of that is because of Tom and the community helping each other out, giving information. Excellent. I'm so proud of you, Bearded Viking, as we continue to pray for Mighty Marcus as he continues to fight the good fight. Amen. Badodamus, welcome in. It's all an illusion. Juan, welcome in. All the beautiful members of Tom's Army. We've got Jamie and Mr. Stop, Mo. It's all an illusion. Elmer, J. Fudd, and Crypto Cooter, both very trusted mods, along with Miss Jan Jan, Crypto Plumber, and so many more part of Tom's Army. Logical and Zalem and Luke Weather. We've got Mr. and Mrs. Stott in here. 1970 legend, our fellow Buckeye. And like I said, Mr. Buckeye, Ohio State was going to make the big dance if they beat Indiana. They needed that one more quad 1 win, and they're in. I guarantee. I think they're at least a 9 seed. They can do themselves some justice winning a game or 2 in the Big Ten tourney, but I think you're soundly in now. But welcome to all my beautiful members in Tom's Army. It means a lot to me. And then the members not in Tom's Army that are still beautiful souls that comment every day. Lucier, welcome in. Omar is a bot. I don't see any comments from Omar. I'm going to have to look at that. EOK, and we'll get back to it. I just like to acknowledge my audience. I really do. It makes me really happy. Gus, welcome in, along with Shinzi Guys. Let's see. Who else did I miss? Crazy Poland Tom's Army. What a beautiful, beautiful man right there. Plant Good See also in Tom's Army. Dan Margino as well. Let's see. I think that's everybody. Ooh, we got some gifted subs. Really? Wow, Chris B, no problem, my brother, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month as well. Joseph Euler and Tom's Army over 1 year and gifts a sub. It goes to Matthew Nelson. Excellent. Congratulations, Matthew, for being in Tom's Army for your first month. This certainly helps get the word out. I love when you guys donate subs instead of just super chats, because then it invigorates somebody to maybe come in that wasn't in here. 1970 Legend, a very trusted mod, and gifts a sub. Also in Tom's Army for over 1 year. Gives 5 subs at that. Wow, thank you, Mr. Euler and 1970 Legend, for those 6 gifted subs. That's incredible. The gifted subs from 1970 Legend went to John 3.0, Del Carba, Maxi, which is over 1 year now with the I Told You So Badge. Welcome back, Maxi. We missed you. Smiley, second month with the Dusty Autos Crypto News. And then again, John, Del Carba, and Mr. Technology in their first months. Excellent. Kelp, welcome in. War Damn Eagle. Hey, is that an Auburn fan, War Eagle? Wait a minute. Or did I mess it up? Wait a minute. What the hell is War Eagle? I keep missing it. I think it might be. Oh, wait a minute. Is that Auburn? Kelp, welcome in. Late but listening now. Oh, good. I didn't want to feel like an idiot. Yeah, we got some Alabama fans in here as well, which is funny. See, I told you we have all different kinds of beautiful souls in here. War Eagle is Philly. Interesting. Philly as well. So Philadelphia Eagles and Auburn. Excellent. Who said I'm a bot, Tom? I know who you are, Lucio. That's why I said I don't recognize you as a bot. Just going to fix my name after live because I miss you mentioning my name. Yeah, I was trying to figure out if that was you, Omar. It confuses me sometimes. But I can still, now that I remember it's you, Lucio, I'll just refer to you as Omar. Omar is not a bot. Omar has been here very, very often. For a long number of years now. So Omar is not a bot. Crypto Plumber, thanks for being in town during 6+ months with the XP Predictor as well. And Armand, thanks for confirming about Auburn. I really appreciate that. Mark Casson, over 1 year at the I Told You So Bad's no notification. Yeah, I was going over that earlier. I'm just astounded that there's over 100 people in here because they have not, 1.8% of my content's being recommended right now. That's a very low number, so I'm just very appreciative so many people find the way. But anyhow, let's get back to the information as XRP is sliding a little bit. Down to $1.38. And the major areas we need to watch now, and I hope the representation I gave you to start, especially the new members, you're more in tune now with what's going on in these charts. 4 hour looks atrocious. That looks like a spinning top here. So basically this was a reversal. Even though it was aimed up, the wick came back up, got rejected by this area. It looks like almost a spinning top here, where you got the body here, lower top, but it's aimed downward and has significant pull down. It's defined by the next 3 candlesticks. First 4 hour looks awful. Just awful. So my expectation is, even if we hold bullish, we're probably going to have to come to $1.34. Probably going to have to go to $1.34. So, Omar, I love the hearts. I'm glad that we're on the same page now. Bearded Viking said I get paid tomorrow, and if it works out, I'm joining the classes. Just a heads up, I'll send that email. Absolutely, please send it. My offer stands. I was being serious when I said that I would find a way to reimburse you every single month until you get your footing, because I want you a part of it. I'm dead serious about that. Whether we can do it through a PayPal, Venmo, I have PayPal and Venmo. If you just give me one of your names on either or, I will 100% stand up to my word. Omar says, we plan to meet when we become millionaires. Absolutely, Omar. Absolutely. Yes, please share with somebody that you want to learn this as well. So that's an engulfing candle to the downside as well. So that's why it's very bad news here. The fact that we got rejected in this bearish liquidity sweep zone that we've had out here for weeks. It's just that's a proper level of liquidity that we need to push past to make it a support to push higher. It's unfortunate, but we're just unable to do it. And with all the fake news coming out, they're working the charts against us. They're working the charts against us. But guess what, guys? When there's blood in the water, when things seem uneasy, the only objective that we have to have is to find where we're going in the macro overall, but we need to define how we get there in the micro. So we're trying to figure out how we get down to this big cup and handle, with the handle being a descending wedge. This is the all-time structure. And we know in the micro, it points down to 86.6 cents, breaking down out of the descending wedge. The descending triangle. And since we can't get back above $1.56, it's telling us the technical target as of right now is 86.6. So we're trying to line it up on this all-time cup and handle, which fortunately, we only need one more hit on support to build out this descending wedge.
Yeah, you're so silly.
We've got very much hit 3 taps of resistance. And now we've got 2 hits of support. So that third hit, we're trying to line up with the descending triangle target. And if that hits, guys, we're going to cook. We're going to shake and bake. And I'm telling you right now, if you just follow, and I know it's painful in the bear market, but it is the time. It's the time. It is the time. Let me say it again. It's the time you want to pay attention in bear markets. That's how you get these great deals. And this is how you get the ability to make the unbelievable gains in a bull market. Nobody ever gets rich in a bull market. It's made in the bear market. You know, nobody ever gets rich buying a top and then just cost averaging down from a top. No, the real people who make true bank, those other people might be able to make 50 or 100% at the end of the day. But we're looking to make, if it goes up to $6.40, I am willing to make no less than 750% at minimum on this next move. So if I put 10 grand into XRP, I am expecting to make 75 grand. If it goes down to 86 cents or lower, I'm probably buying 20,000 instead of 10,000 this time. I'm just being straight up with the audience. I will probably drop 17 grand if it comes down there to buy 20,000. And then I also am going to be buying the triple X HA strategy. XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR, Algo, and then likely VeChain because of how cheap we've gone. So, and where we're going, if we go down another 40%, I'm telling you guys, we are going to do this properly. I preached the same thing in the bear market of 21 when I started. I preached the same thing when I said to sell out the bull market of 21, 12 days after it started, basically. I said the same thing in March of 23 when we were being patient for 2 years before we bought almost. And then I said the same thing when we sold out of the bull market top in 25. Now we're back into the same exact routine, except it's my favorite routine. I love building. So when we get down there, if we get the benefit, there is still no guarantee. And if we have to do it another way, we won't make as much profit. But you have to wait for this descending wedge to break out. So at best, you could wait until $1.75 to get that confirmation. And we still continue to try to ride every swing trade just in case we do break out. As of right now, getting those rejections, now it's got to prove to us that we need to hold again. It was a brutal rejection. The good news about all this is we were able to make 7 to 10%, some a little bit more like we talked about from Sunday. We said Sunday, like, pay attention to this. I even put out a short video outside of the live and said if we're going to make some money, it's going to be on Monday this week. So you'd have to buy Sunday night, and we did, and then we were able to sell it. Well, I sold out, I think, everything for the most part when we got rejected here. Now, I'm not shorting. I don't technically like the short because it fucks with my mind. It just messes with my mind. When I short, I'm always looking for the down, and I never look at the buy. Some people like leverage, and that's fine if you have a lot of ability, but don't overextend yourself because they hunt the liquidity on both sides. But the big thing is we have the CPI tomorrow. So with the CPI coming out tomorrow, it's a big deal. Bitcoin reversing as much as it did today was a huge deal. And I came up to the exact area where I built out for the right shoulder. Now, the good news is we still are within a new high, but it is sinking rather quickly. So there's still an hour and 43 minutes until the clock flips. So I think this is a good time, 30 minutes in, to play this clip from Brad Garlinghouse. Trying to bring you some information about what they're talking about with XRP as well within Ripple. So take a listen.
XRP is like a Bitcoin. It's a digital asset. It's today the third most valuable digital asset. And what we do is we take a transaction between banks, and instead of having a bank pre-fund an account at the other bank, which is how
we can do that.
Correspondent banking works today. The Bank of Brad in dollars would pre-fund the Bank of Julia, perhaps in pounds, and then I would debit and credit that. but that means I have to pre-fund and have dormant capital sitting at that other bank. What we allow banks to do, we allow payment providers to do, is to tap into the liquidity of XRP liquidity. So today there's lots of liquidity between XRP and US dollar. There's lots of liquidity between XRP and British pound. And you could tap into that to move value in real time, in seconds. And even compared to Bitcoin, which takes up to 12 minutes to complete one transaction, XRP is extremely fast at about 3 seconds per transaction. That has meant XRP is extremely scalable in contrast to how Bitcoin works. The consumer itself doesn't actually see that it's flowing through XRP to solve the problem. What the consumer sees is simply a better product at a better price. And so we're seeing more momentum.
So you hear what he's acknowledging. The banks are going to use it as liquidity, not the digital dollar. This has been my conspiracy for 5 years on here. I've said since the beginning that the banks are going to use XRP as the liquidity hub so that it looks solvent. That's why there's so many tokens. It's a brilliant setup. This is going to make the price appreciate in time. But we have to buy the proper time. The proper time.
Than we've ever had around using XRP to move this liquidity around the world. Okay. And so
tried to clean up most of it from
happier about how that has played out in a world where there's still a lot, I think, of
I'm proud of him for staying up for Mel.
A lot of doubt about what's going on in crypto.
Oh, good.
This is a real use case solving a real problem for real customers.
So you've seen that, everybody, what was going on there. They're talking about how XRP is the liquidity for banks to be solvent, basically. Not that it's going to be the digital dollar. With the Clarity Act, there's going to be a well-defined digital dollar that retail is not going to be able to be a part of. Did he shut his door?
No, that was okay.
Oh, okay. Julie, we had some very generous people this live.
Oh, yeah?
Mr. Euler sent 1 gifted sub. Joseph, 1970 Legend, sent 5 gifted subs. And Jamie McKinney upgraded the live classes.
Aww.
I know. Talk about making a man feel good this evening.
He deserves it. He works hard. He really does.
They all know I work hard.
24/7. He spends more time with you guys than just me.
Hey. We're in the same house all the time.
I know.
But I know you
but
were.
It's true at the same time.
But yeah, no, I definitely do a lot of work. I like working for the community. You know, there's something about it. There's something to be said. Okay, so when it comes to, what did we want to see first? Oh yeah, SHX. And quant, I agree. I have a quant chart about where I think it can go. And I mean, that's another one. If it goes down far enough, that's another one that would actually be on my list, ironically. So SHX, I had a technical target where I would try to buy if it broke down right here. 002. The only reason I haven't looked at it much is because that's where I wanted to. We talked about many years ago when I printed this out back here that by November 16, 2024, we would have a big push. And look when it actually hit, January of 25. And I talked about this in 23 for Steven. I kept it up here. And then we topped out in January. I told him we'd do it in November of 24. We just missed it. We just missed it. So I was about a month off. So that was something I built for him. And then the breakdown, when it broke down the layers, we had the fan system of support, another area of support, which it actually bounced off of. But now if it breaks down, which it looks like it is, 001975 approximately. And let me tell you something. Who was it? I'm going to go hand in hand with you. It's all an illusion. I, too, am going to be buying SHX, even though it's not part of the plan, if it gets that cheap. I just can't not do it. I can't not do it. 100,000 tokens would cost about 19. What would that cost? Not even. 1 million tokens. What would it be? 1 million? 1 million times 0.002. Whoops. Yeah, $2,000 for 1 million tokens. I'm going to have several million. I would at least have a good amount there at that price. So it's all an illusion. I haven't forgot about this. It's just sometimes I don't show charts because I've had them charted out for so long that sometimes I just don't want to see the nitty gritty in between because I get trapped. Because I get too anxious at every support structure. But with what my mind's telling me, just time it all with XRP basically. So if XRP comes down another 40%, I have no doubt in my mind these are going to come way down if that happens. But we're going to keep watching. We're significantly oversold now in the weekly. Daily, 4-hourly ended up doing itself a disservice. See how overbought we got? That means we're running out of steam in the area, which is actually a good sign for us if you want it to come farther down. So I'm going to keep this on here at the bottom for quant. I always pay attention to. I just got to remember which Binance chart it is. Always makes it easy when I do it first on the right one. So I've been watching quant for years, and the first area is $45. I don't think this is going to hold. I think what's going to end up happening here is quant's going to reset. I think it's going to reset to like the middle teens probably. It's been my speculation for a long time, because it can't come all the way through there. So you have to define it in a different way. So if it breaks down, where would we think? So what I started to think is I'll wait for the back end and see how we have support 1, support 2. I targeted, if it could hold without breaking down the whole way, $45.30 was my overall target. But if you look at this, underneath this 39. So if you start looking at this, I mean, it gets a little nitty gritty here for quant. And quant, if you need to know, if you don't know what it is, quant runs the whole damn show. Everybody acts like Bitcoin runs the show, which it might. But for the utility tokens, you can't have the ISO or IoT without quant. Quant runs the whole damn thing. It runs the entire thing. So at some point, if it did what I wanted, and it would have to do an extraordinary job, I would be interested in it. But I'll keep watching quant, but I still think there's a lot of downside to go. I'm not a genius. I just watch the chart, so I could be wrong. But again, I'll keep that on this list. I was just curious how much this came back, because it hit the resistance perfectly. Like, that hit the resistance level perfectly. So it's bounced down now. Maybe it comes back down and fills this out. If it does, pay close attention to that. But anyhow, let's continue on. A big indictment of what happened today. MicroStrategy was down 0.4%, which they're the largest holder of Bitcoin. And let me explain it in a context that I can make you understand. Michael Saylor's a market maker. He's a market maker. He's the third tier in the hierarchy. So if you're part of the classes, you learned this yesterday as well. If you want to know more about this, I encourage you to join the class. We're in phase 3, but you can go back at any time to phase 1 and 2. They're in the lot. The lives are in a fully functional database where you can just watch it anytime on YouTube. And there's no rhyme or reason. You don't have to be in there live. You can watch it after, and you can come into a live class and catch up on the phase we're on. It has no correlation to the one before of phases. They're broken off in for a reason. But Michael Saylor is part of the market makers. So his job is to buy when things go down. His job is to buy when things go down. Above him would be the institutions, and above that would be the central banks who run the entire show. MicroStrategy is the largest holder of Bitcoin, supposedly, even though we know it's the U.S. government in reality. But Michael Saylor, he has to buy when the price is down and in the red. That's his job. The market makers have to do that. The institutions have to continue to help find liquidity with the market maker. But anyhow, it's a big, long order. Bitmine is the largest holder of Ethereum, and it's good to have this information because then you can see what they're doing in each way. So a lot of people have chosen not to buy Ethereum and Bitcoin, and they'll buy these independent companies or the ETFs trying to stay out of crypto as a whole, which is a tricky game. Oh, it's a tricky game. How long have we been here? 38 minutes already. There's no way. Holy smokes. But getting back to XRP, so how do we avoid the continuation down in this moment? I prefer for it not to avoid it, but I'm not a schloozeball, so I know that there's a chance at the market. But that's a huge pull down, unless that's an inverted hammer, which there is no angling to the downside. This would mean we're just clearing out for a continuation up. So that's why we have to pay attention to see if we're actually going to break down from here, or we can still come out to a wave E, which is why I keep it on here, because until it breaks down, one, this descending wedge in the futures market, which is the CME, this does have a little bit of a wick to the downside, and that might be too strong. But right now, the technical target, first area was $1.45, and we knew that because of the short-term descending wedge. This, however, points us to $1.52 if it played true. Now, we're looking for either an invalidation here at $1.33 in real time, roughly, and see if it comes through, if we can continue that momentum. Now, when I was talking about the wave E, I know it's a lot of information if it's your first day in here, but it'll get easier and easier every day you're in here. So we had an ABC corrective wave. Well, I also put in the possibility, I drew it out a second time for ABCD, and then E would be the last expansive wave in the Elliott wave if this played out. There's no guarantee it's going to, but because we're on top of a descending wedge, because the D wave looked about right, we still think we could pop up to the breakaway gap. But remember, those are breakaway gaps. By definition, that CME and FEG in that same area, being a breakaway gap, all that's telling you, and I know this is a lot of information, and it's going to be hard to just remember everything, but I think if I have repetition each time I come in here, I think it'll make it a lot easier as we're in different units or different sections. But a breakaway gap is defined by, so when we were in a bear market, that gap area was created, and the fact it fell through and couldn't be overtaken, it tells you that the bear market is still continuing. The bears are still in control. Now, the breakaway gap is also defined by, if you come up here and get rejected, it's an ultimate confirmation, or if you get on top of it and use that support, it could be the start of a fresh bull market. You wouldn't know until you got over this downtrending resistance on the descending triangle, because that is the definition. You have to get over that area sooner rather than later. And it's also created a very unique on this chart, a descending wedge possibly once we get over it. However, the support down here, again, if we look for 66 point whatever cents or 68 cents as the technical drop from a descending triangle on the other chart, the technical move would get you out until, sometime in April. So there is so much to come through here. So much information that I know your head's going to be spinning. And some people just choose to leave, which, you know what? I completely understand. I think if I went into somebody's community for the first time and they were throwing all this at me, I'd say, I can never learn all of this. Why do I even bother? You know why you bother? Because you're betting on yourself and you don't have to pay a dime. How about that? You don't have to pay a red cent. You don't have to wait for ads. I don't put advertising on the live itself. I barely put it on when the live is out. You don't have to pay for this info unless you want to go deeper and learn other parts of the market psychology and anatomy and just everything in between. Everything that I can't show you in an hour format here, that I can teach you in a class day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year. And we're going to end the 6 week of classes tomorrow, which is awesome. A nice database is being built. In fact, we had one new person join today, the classes. It's unbelievable. SK says ZBAC. Normally I would be like, hey, I don't have time to do it. But you know what? This is a beautiful community this evening. I have no problem bouncing around if the community is as beautiful as it is in the comments right now. I must be honest. This is such an awesome community this evening. Such a great vibe. I love all the comments. I love how everybody's helping each other out in the comments. I haven't seen any negativity at all. At all. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to thank 1970 legend. I'm going to thank Joseph Euler. And I am going to thank Jamie McKinney for upgrading to the live memberships and the aforementioned other two for donating subs. And I'm going to look at ZBCN for you, ZBAC. I charted all the time. In fact, we had humongous runs before. We're still in that liquidity box. I know I haven't watched it, but I built a liquidity box and it's filling through it perfectly right now. If we break down that liquidity box, we'll come all the way back down here to that 0011. But, mind you, if this breaks, we're going to do a pattern reset. And I can already tell you where it's at. I don't even need to sugarcoat it. I can tell you exactly where this would be. That's the pattern reset. And you know, it might make sense because we got rejected here several times. This actually would make a lot of sense, folks, to come all the way back down here. Let's time it up. Let's tune it up. So if we come back down here, we're looking at 000745. And was anybody part of the ZBAC unbelievable run we did in last year? So if you guys are new, and this is not a flex, this was just our community. I didn't even bring ZBAC to the forefront, but I did do a lot of charting and analysis. And this is a brand new chart compared to what we were using. But we nailed this so bad last year to the point we hit the breakout running. And we ran it all the way to the top, sold out, ran it back up again, and then we finally just let it fall after. And what we did was we went from MXC. So we went ZBEC and we made like 400% or 500% real quick. Put it into MXC and made a couple 100% in 2 days. And then bounced it back into ZBEC for the final bounce up. And it was just an unbelievable DM44, I'm new to the channel. Thanks for all that you do for the community. Do you offer a course to learn how to trade on TradingView? I'm interested in making money on the way up and way down. Okay, so I started a live class 6 weeks ago. And yes, we're going to get into the functional trading on TradingView. I'll teach you every day in here live. I've been doing this for 5 years without a day off. Literally, I don't take days off. I started March 24th of 2021. So I can teach you every single day, but I started classes so that you could learn a little bit deeper. Now, we're not into the actual charting yet, but there's a lot that you have to learn to become a proper trader before we ever get into charting. And they're split up into phases. We're in phase 3 right now. But phase 1 was the DNA of money and the great transitioning. And it literally goes through everything you can think of from past, present, and future. We talk about the bartering system, what the store of value versus actual currency is, and everything in between. We talk about the era we're in and how we're transitioning to the digital. I'm trying to build you up from the ground so that when you open up a chart and you hit the button on an exchange, that should be the last thing you do. Everything should already be worked out. So I had to come up with a clever course. So the first phase was the DNA of money and the great transitioning. The second phase, which took, I believe, 5 classes, was the purpose of investing, wealth preservation versus generation. And all of these images depict exactly what we're going to learn, not to the 100%, but it represents what you can expect to learn in these courses by these phases. And then we started phase 3 this week on Monday, and that's market ecosystems. Who are the players, retail, institutional, market makers, and central banks? And that one was awesome. A lot of people are craving the charts. This is what a lot of people are waiting for. Now you got to understand the hierarchy. You see how you have central banks? They control it all. And every step below them, they control. So the central banks control institutional traders, market makers, and retail traders. So, and there's a liquidity to fulfill. There's so much stuff in there. So yeah, I'm going to build you into actually understanding what you want to do, my friend. That's a great question, and I promise you the classes are a home run. Home run, and I can't speak of it, obviously, because I'm teaching them. And I teach them through Zoom, so you're not watching it like you're watching me on YouTube. What you're actually seeing if you're taking the classes, if you want to know. I teach it through Zoom. I kind of cheat Zoom. I pay for the monthly stuff, so I can teach through here. But I actually show it through YouTube and have it all saved on YouTube in the members only live section. It's $49.99 a month. But Zoom would have wanted you to pay $123 a month to watch the lives on Zoom, to get a code, and to have the database. Plus, you would have to pay my fee, because that doesn't go to me, what goes to Zoom. So it actually is a huge savings. But when you come on here, it doesn't look like when you're watching what I'm doing now. So when it comes on here, you're going to see it just like a regular class. And I have so many different ways of showing these. I have different kind of charts, presentation-wise. It goes in so freaking deep. Family-friendly class. I even do diagrams for the classes to try to let it hit home a little bit more. Starting to experiment with different kinds, but there's so much stuff. I put in a lot of time to this. It may only be an hour to an hour and a half per class, but I put so much time into that class that every single person who's joined, and we have a 98% retention rate. And the one person who left before the classes started. Something must have went wrong. They got a refund, which is fine. But we have a 98% retention rate after 6 weeks, which is a huge compliment. In fact, we've gained 4 people that have never seen my YouTube channel. Just word of mouth from people in the class and that want to watch. And I encourage, if you have family members, you don't all have to sign up. If you live in the same house, just each of you have your own account on a YouTube so you can both watch at the same time. Just create both of them on your own phone. I encourage that with Mr. and Mrs. Stock, because I don't want them paying twice. I don't want anybody paying twice for my content. They don't have to. But anyhow, yes, that's what I'm building there for a reason. And when that gets done, I'm going to be so happy the more it builds into. Elmer Fudd, Tom does have a course. Yes. Thank you for letting him know, Elmer. The classes go by in like 20 minutes, it seems, because they're so. Oh, I appreciate that, Mrs. Stott. I feel the same way when I'm teaching them. I'll look and be like, wow, we're already an hour and 10 minutes. Dude, that is crazy. It's just like these lives. The lives go through so quickly now. You know, I love it. I just love doing all of this. Everything is A-okay. Sorry, dog, freaking out. Why are you freaking out, my man? Need a notification or set time for lives. It's hard to rando check you. Oh, it is set time, 12 o'clock. 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday and Wednesday.
But it's recorded, so you can
Those are the set times. It doesn't change. I'm there every Monday and Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then they're recorded so that you can watch them at your own leisure. But if you want to be part of the live class, you don't even have to guess. It starts at 12 p.m. until 1, but it always goes over by 15 minutes to a half hour. It is what it is. But yeah, that's the set time. It never changes. All 11 classes have been at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday and Wednesday. So, and I set it from 12 to 1. I've got people in like 17 or 16 different countries that are trying to watch and things like that. Stupid rabbits. My dog wants to go hunting, sees them out the window. Oh, I don't have a dog here, but my cat. What kind of cat do we have again?
She's a Norwegian forest cat.
Oh yeah, she's a Norwegian forest cat, and they're known for their hunting skills and their thick fur, and they love the cold weather. They'll sleep in the snow.
They're like the huskies.
But she loves going outside and hunting birds and animals, which sucks. So we have to stop her a lot. She just looks at us like, "Hey, what's going on here?" Thoughts on Quorum and Solo merging as one token? If that's true, I used to talk about that a long time ago and said I could see a path for that, but I didn't know how true it could be. It's interesting. They both have strong ecosystems, but the fact they'd be blending is it's interesting. I think it's interesting. Is that Quorum and Sologenic you're talking about, Puentes? I'll do more research on that. Your dog is a Lab and Shepherd mix. Oh, that's a great hunting mix, too. I used to have a Shepherd. German Shepherd. That's a beautiful dog. Sologenic and Quorum. Okay, excellent. So I'll look up more on that. It's true. TX token now. Wow. Did it already happen? What is it? TX token? TX USD. I'll be damned. 2 cents. It went down to 2 cents? There's no way. So Quorum is no longer, so it doesn't show up at all? Or what's going on here? Holy crap, Quorum's back down. It was at 3.8 cents. Solo. Where was it at when it finally... Wow, I talked about this when they had that huge run up about take the profit there too. So if it's TX, there's no reason to show the Solo or Quorum charts anymore if they're merging, because that'll just be a slow death. We don't have a baseline here. That's still a bearish candle right there. So we don't have a baseline. Sell volume's picking up. It's going to take weeks to figure this out. Although, nice actually, hold on a second. Yeah, that's a rejection candle in the 3-hourly from the top. 4-hourly's overbought. Could be an inverse setup here, though. But there's not enough information here yet. But it definitely could be a nice cup and handle forming here. Hold on. Wait a second. Because you have shoulder, head. Could it be another flat dip? And have like a shoulder here? Neckline would... Ooh. The neckline would put it right there. So it could be building a head and shoulders in the short term. Come down here. Try to validate a pattern. Where is that at? 017. We're going to have to watch this. I'm actually very intrigued by this, to be honest with you. Wow. Well, I'll keep an eye on this. We're going to keep an eye on this because it could very well be building a shoulder, head, shoulder here. I know it looks like a head and shoulders, which it should be here. If it breaks down, would be great. So I could build this little inversion here on the right side. The wick's been completely filled up, which is actually a nice tap. It is a ticking time bomb, maybe. Wow, that's incredible, actually, what's building. Yeah, the 4 hourly needs to dump down. 2 hourly still coming down strong. 3 hourly's reversing down. 4 hours broke bearish below the trend line. So this should come down more. So Zalim, do you think that it would come back down here and retest the neckline area then? Around 183, would that be the area we'd be looking at for some kind of volatility to the upside? Because this isn't going to run like the rest. This is so new that there's going to be a, what we like to call a, not even just a liquidity zone building, but there's going to be a imbalance that's created here on this drop. There already is. I can show you the imbalance. Does everybody want to see the imbalance? It's great to trade imbalances when it happens. So basically the imbalance is, we came down, back up, came through. So we have an imbalance right here. There's your basic imbalance or your gap that's over the top. That in time's gonna have to be filled. Now, the cool thing is I can also show you a lower imbalance where it came up, but it never retested this area. So you've created multiple imbalances here. The question is, which way are we gonna go? Oh, see, this is why I love the audience. How would I have even known about this if it wasn't for the audience? And now I can hammer it home. Oh, we're going to do this too. This is another one in the repertoire that we'll talk about. I was a big fan of Solo and Corium before the bull market of 23. We were buying them both. Made phenomenal gains in 24. Just never rebought them in 25 to ride them again when we sold out. But I'm glad I didn't. It went all the way up to what, 30, 40, 50 cents. And now it's back down to 2, 3, 6 cents. Do research. What's the plan? I'm going to do research, but I'm going to watch to see these liquidity zones because it's filled these little gap areas. These are easy gaps to identify within here, in my opinion. You can even bring this one higher because it came down to here. But I think you don't do that. You look where it came before the bounce up and then it stopped here. So it's left a rather intriguing little imbalance to the downside and top side, to be honest. Wait a minute, which chart was that? I don't know if it was Mex. I guess it was Mexi. Now, how much does Bitmart have of this? Ooh. Yeah, definitely like the Mexi chart a little bit better. I got some homework to do, folks. We got some homework to do, ladies and gentlemen. Homework. Oh, we got a lot to watch. We've got a lot to watch. Yeah, right now, my plan is to watch and observe. Oh, beautiful. Good time. Heck, he had his milk, so who knows? It's almost 7. He did a good job. A lot to talk about. We got a lot to watch. That's the beauty of this community. We do this together. It's not I. There's no I in this community. It's we. You'll never hear me say about me. We. I. Not acceptable. We're helpful, not hurtful. Positive, not negative. We're spiritual, you know, not satanicness. We're godly, not devilish kind of thing. You don't even have to have faith, but you got to be a good person to succeed in this community. Yeah, Tayo has been good. Tayo, T-A-O, I remember that. It had a huge rally in the bull market. Huge rally. Let's see. How long have we been on? Already an hour. Holy smokes. So yeah, we're going to have to call this a day soon because Scarlett and Michaela are going to be leaving to go back to their dad's house. And I want to be part of before they leave so I can say bye. But yeah, this has been a great live. I should leave it here because it's been a lot of information. I encourage you guys, if you want to level up here, join the classes. Make sure you watch. I know there was a lot of content today. I did a short this morning. And then I did a 10-minute video. I did a live this morning. I did another short this afternoon and another one. So 5 pieces of content today. That might be a little too much for the algorithm. But it's okay. I'm blessed that we have 103 people here at the end. This is crazy. I mean, I think our retention rate was awesome today. I think the motivation was on point. I think the chemistry worked very well this evening. Did you guys feel the chemistry in the comments? Like how everybody was working together? Garbanzo, thanks for being in Tom's Army for 6 months and enjoy your dinner, my brother. Yeah, it's a great time for me to exit as well. Great time. But I really like the chemistry today. William, thanks for 6+ months as well. I appreciate you. Bearded Viking says, thank you for your time. Hug Julie and tell her thank you from us. Yeah, Julie, thank you from the group. Elmer, thanks for your mindset along with 1970 Legend and everybody else in here as well, being helpful with each other this evening. I love how everybody's helping. It makes me very happy. This is exactly how I want every live to go, with the way that, not just for me, but all of you as well. We did a phenomenal job. We should give ourselves a round of applause. Be blessed.